Hello everyone, welcome back to Sari Science World. Now I am sharing some important questions related to Moon Day. Okay, let's get into the video. First question, which day is celebrated as Moon Day? Answer, July 21st. July 21st is celebrated as Moon Day. Second question, when did man first land on the moon? When did man first land on the moon? Answer, in 1969, July 21st. Next question, who are the passengers of the first lunar voyage? Who are the passengers of first lunar voyage? Answer, Neil Armstrong, Edwin Aldrin, and Michael Collins. These three persons are the passengers of the first lunar voyage. Okay, next question. Who first landed on the moon? Who first landed on the moon? Answer, Neil Armstrong. Next question. India's first lunar mission. India's first lunar mission. Answer, Chandrayan 1. India's first lunar mission, Chandrayan 1. Launched in October 2008. Okay, next question. The first manned vehicle to land on the moon. The first manned vehicle to land on the moon. Answer, Apollo 11. Apollo 11 is the first manned vehicle to land on the moon. Okay, next question. Who was the first astronaut? Who was the first astronaut? Answer, Yuri Gagarin. Yuri Gagarin from Russia, and he traveled to the moon in 1961 April 12. Okay, next question. India's second moon mission. India's second moon mission. Answer, Chandrayan 2. India's second moon mission, Chandrayan 2. Next question. Which rocket carried Chandrayan 2 into space? Which rocket carried Chandrayan 2 into space? Answer, GSLV Mk3. GSLV Mk3. Okay, next question. What is the full form of ISRO? What is the full form of ISRO? Answer, Indian Space Research Organization. Indian Space Research Organization. Okay, next question. Which day is celebrated as Space Day? Which day is celebrated as Space Day? Answer, April 12th. April 12th is celebrated as Space Day. Next question. What percentage of moon is visible from Earth? What percentage of moon is visible from Earth? Answer, 59%. 59% of the moon is visible from Earth. Okay, next question. Who was the first Indian to travel to space? Who was the first Indian to travel to the space? Rakesh Sharma. Rakesh Sharma was the first Indian to travel to the space. Next question. In which vehicle Rakesh Sharma landed in space? In which vehicle Rakesh Sharma landed in space? Answer, Soyuz T-11. Soyuz T-11. Next question. Who was the first female astronaut? Who was the first female astronaut? Answer. Valentina Tereshkova. Valentina Tereshkova was the first female astronaut. Next question. Who landed second on the moon? Who landed second on the moon? Answer. Edwin Aldrin. Edwin Aldrin landed second on the moon. Next question. What are the dark spots on the moon when viewed from Earth? What are the dark spots on the moon when viewed from the Earth? Answer. Maria. Maria or Mayer. Next question. Who was the last person to have stepped onto the moon? Who was the last person to have stepped onto the moon? Answer. Eugene Cernan. Eugene Cernan is the last person stepped onto the moon in 1972 December 2. That was the last step on the moon. Next question. Who was the first Indian woman traveled into space? Who was the first Indian woman traveled into space? Answer. Kalpana Chawla. Kalpana Chawla was the first Indian woman traveled into space. Okay. Next question. Who was the second Indian woman traveled into space? Who was the second Indian woman traveled into space? Answer. Sunita Williams. Sunita Williams was the second Indian woman traveled into space. She spent 322 days in the space. Next question. How many people have ever landed on the moon? How many people have ever landed on the moon? Answer. 12 people. Next question. What is the color of sky in the moon? What is the color of sky in the moon? Answer. Black. Because there is no atmosphere in the moon. Okay. Thanks for watching.